Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the invitation to present some of the views of the EDU here at this meeting of the Japan Geosciences Union. I will take a European perspective, and I will also introduce some aspects of the life of EDU. But first of all, let me congratulate the Japan Geosciences Union with the 25th anniversary and the successful development of your union. We just saw some impressive numbers about the growth statistics. I'm very impressed about the achievements, and I hope that you'll be very successful with your new journal, Open Access. This is also EDU ideas about how we should be publishing for the future, and so I wish you all the success. And of course, thank you for inviting me to be here at your celebration. Let me start about some views on what is good science. I think the most important thing for us scientists is that we are curious people. We want to understand what we are seeing around us. And that, of course, requires that we are asking the right questions. It requires innovative thinking. And first of all, we cannot plan or schedule any of the progress, the real progress in science. But science is also needed to address and solving societal problems. But we have to face that we are unable at the present to answer all the many questions that the political world is asking to our scientific unions, our scientific organizations and people. We are curious to solve some of the fundamental unresolved problems, and in geosciences, just to mention a few, are there life on other planets? Is there deep Earth life? What are the driving forces of plate tectonics? We had the earthquake yesterday, so we know that it's actually active. And also modes of mantle convection, mantle plumes in this relation and on itself. Origin of the magnetic field. We see that the magnetic field at present is decreasing in strength. Does that imply that we are getting closer to a magnetic reversal? And ocean atmosphere interaction and so on and so on. We have very many fundamental issues where we don't understand the full perspective of the problem. So most of us are driven by curiosity, but we also have to face that we feel responsible to contribute and to the solution of societal problems, and by sharing our insight to the benefit of the world. And therefore I think that our geoscientific unions do have a very strong role to play, in particular through outreach, and I'll come a little back to that. But before that, I will show a few examples of a book that we showed, we were presented at our recent General Assembly, which was, the Assembly had the overarching title, Avoid True Scales, and for that we also provided a book about scales in the various disciplines of geosciences, and this is the frontispiece about atmospheric sciences, about volcanic risks, other natural hazards, and the climate issue. And I'll show a few other pictures from this book. It's freely available on the web as a PDF from the EDU website. Unfortunately, we're out of stock of the printed copy. It became too popular, which was very nice. So, in my opinion, geosciences has a central role to play in relation to many or most of the great challenges to society: fresh water supply, stable supply of energy, mineral resources, climate issue, food supply. We have a strong role to play in soil sciences, geohazards, ocean acidification. Just to mention, I think some of the real major ones where geosciences should play a major role. So we should provide scientific information on these grand challenges to society. And I'm very happy that ICSU has just launched a great initiative called Future Earth, and as well as other programs. And I think they are leading the way in what we can do as scientists in this regard. Our geosciences unions, as they were just introduced, we have a very wide expertise among the membership. We can provide insight to society, and we also have to face that each union have its specific domain, not only geographical as the 4 unions mentioned before, but also the international scientific unions. And what we really have to understand is that we can benefit from each other's experience, and therefore I welcome the initiative by the Japan Geosciences Union here for more interaction. I think we can provide link between decision makers and the scientific community in each our unions, provide outreach to the public and to the politicians. We can promote research opportunities for talented early career scientists. And we are able to point at the fundamental issues because we have this wide membership and knowledge and insight. And a very fundamental thing in all our outreach is that I believe we need to stress the uncertainty in any scientific result that we come up with. Too many I mean, the public world wants to have solutions, they want to have definite answers, but we also know as scientists that our insight is limited, that there are uncertainties, and this we also should communicate to the public and to the politicians, the whole aspect of limitations. So, but I do welcome the initiative from JPGU to hold regular meetings between our unions to exchange points of view. It's clear that we need to debate the role of geosciences in modern society. We need to develop new relations between scientists and the political system, and we also need to make the right priorities in what we are doing, which of course are partly regionally determined. And if we turn a little towards Europe, we have our own special issues. Europe consists of a very large number of countries. Many of these are members of the European Union, but not all. But the EU still has relatively little political power, and therefore our activities should both address the EU and all the national countries in Europe. And the geosciences is at the moment in Europe leading in a big infrastructure program called EPOS, European Plate Observatory System, which is having a lot of success. And just to remind you, this is how Europe can look at night with some very large concentrations of human beings. And in the EDU, we are now trying to take broader initiatives to play a role in European scientific advice. We want to actively promote geosciences to the political system. We also want to provide reliable scientific information to the public and the political system. And we would like to provide information based on the research results. We are not aiming to give political advice or to come up with political answers in what we will be doing. And again, as I said already, we would like to emphasize the uncertainties in the scientific results. And if we take one example here in relation to the global temperature, as scientists, we are able to put things into the right perspective. We have the long time series if we combine the various types of sciences, and here we see how temperature has dropped by more than 15 degrees for 60 million years, and at the lower panel we see the fluctuations with the ice ages. I think this is an important issue to keep in mind when we're discussing global warming. We should take uncertainties into account. Here we see an example where this is important. We know that nature is fractal. This is an example from a recent EDU union session this year. Just let me introduce EDU. We cover Earth, planetary and space sciences. We were established in 2002 by merging two other previous unions. And we have now more than 12,000 members worldwide, divided into 22 scientific divisions. We have 8 union-wide committees. We have an outreach program for geosciences. We are sponsoring scientific events and also holding other than the General Assembly. We have an extensive awards and medal program. And we have the largest geoscience meeting in Europe. And besides, we are now publishing 17 peer-reviewed open access journals in various issues. Our 22 scientific divisions, I couldn't fit them into one slide, but they include a broad range of science subjects, from atmospheric sciences, hydrological sciences, geomorphology and geodynamics. Energy and resources is important, and geochemistry, geodesy, tectonics, and so on and so on. So I think we cover the Earth and planetary sciences pretty well. Our outreach activities aim at providing outreach to the general public and to the organizations, seek access to the political system. This is a new issue coming up in EDU, which I think is very important. We are providing press releases, blogging and social media activities are very important. We're very happy in EDU that more than half of our membership are early career scientists, and they are very active on using the blog. I must admit I'm not too active myself. We are publishing geoscientific news for children also. There's a wide range of activities. We have quite some activities for a long time in education activities. We have a Geosciences Information for Teachers program called GIFT, where we have workshops for geo teachers and teachers in physics at the General Assembly. We have a poster session for science at the General Assembly. We hold workshops at the EDU Alexander von Humboldt conferences mainly in third world countries. And we have a program for distinguished lectures. Besides, we have an initiative where we're bringing teachers to see in scientific programs. We have a GIFT Africa workshops and a program called I'm a Geoscientist, mainly on the social media for the young generation. And the GIFT workshops have included quite a variety of various topics. This year it was the solar system and beyond. Last year it was mineral resources, our changing planet, natural hazards, water, evolution and biodiversity. You can see that this is a very broad range, and a little cyclic in which type of or which subjects that we are addressing. EDU is also having a series of topical events. We are just now launching a series of meetings called the Galileo conferences, which are focusing on cutting-edge topics at the frontier of geosciences research, so high-level topical conferences. We have a EDU conference series on specific subject areas. And then we have training schools, which is probably the main activity for young scientists, mainly as in the form of summer schools. And here we see an example of one of the recent summer schools with an excursion up in the Alps. EDU is publishing 17 open access journals, and this is the timeline how they came into existence. The highest impact factor at the present is higher than 6 in these open access journals. A specific aspect of these journals is that the authors maintain the copyright. it can be freely distributed. We have one journal with more than 6 in impact factor. We are doing interdisciplinary contributions through interjournal special issues. That's very easy to organize because all the open access journals are published on the internet. We have an extra journal for model development and publication of computer codes, and one on instrumentation and measurement techniques in addition to traditional scientific topics. And the journal activity in 2014 looks like this. About 20,000 views of articles, 6,000 published papers in the discussion, which I'll come back to, more than 5,000 interactive comments. We now have more than 20,000 authors, almost 1,000 editors. So it's a very distributing undertaking with the editorial process in our journals. And we have a pool of more than 8,000 reviewers. And our publication strategy, I'll not go into details. You can come to our booth out here and hear more about it. We have a 2-stage publication procedure for all our journals. Of course, the first is the submission, after which an associate editor will accept or reject the paper. If it's accepted, it's actually published with a DOI number as a discussion series publication, which is publicly available. It's sent out for normal review by 2 to 3 anonymous reviewers. And besides, the whole community can comment on this discussion paper on the internet, not anonymous, but by providing your name and details. After this, the paper will go back for revision as normal. It will be resubmitted. The editor will judge the paper based on both the comments and the official reviews, and it can go forth and back as you sometimes see it in scientific journals, and at the end of the day it will be finally published in the journal as such and not only in the discussion series. Many of our journals have very, very good experience with this type of editorial procedure. So, and other EDU services is we have a repository of science-related images freely available, can be freely downloaded. We have the blog, social media, and we are publishing a monthly newsletter interactively. And then our annual General Assembly, 12,000 participants, 600 scientific sessions, 15,000 papers. We are providing medals and awards. We have a new issue here also called PICO presentations, which I'll come back to. We have short courses, vendor meetings, town hall meetings, and so on. This year we had about 12,000 attendees from 108 countries, and I heard that there were about 200 from Japan. We would very much like to see more. And out of these, 23% were students, and about half of the attendees were early career scientists, more than half actually. And some statistics on the number of presentations. We are running a series of great debates at our meetings, 1.5-hour discussion planned with a panel and discussion from the floor. Some of the subjects listed here are from this year. Together with AODS, we had a great debate on the impact on global geosciences of the accelerating Asian research. We had, together with ADU, debate on global freshwater use, the thirsty 10 millions are we managing, and we had on the climate policy. We had, together with ADU, also on open access publishing, and these debates will actually be coming up both at ADU and EDU as well as AODS and EDU meetings in the same year. we have had on metals in our backyard, to mine or not to mine, geoengineering, shale gas, and so on. And this is the poster from the great debate together with AODS this year on the impact of the accelerating Asian research on global geosciences. As I mentioned, we have an extensive award program. These are the early career scientists that were awarded this year. Well, the two in the center are maybe not so early career scientists. That's me as president and our vice president. And then I mentioned we have a new presentation technique called PICO. It's a combination of a lecture room and touchscreens presentations. First, every participant in a session will give a 2-minute introduction in the lecture hall, after which all participants go out to interactive screens, and it works like a poster session, but where you can work out and into your presentation. So you can have like a website that you're presenting at. You can go to those aspects that are of interest to the people with whom you're discussing. And you can also switch to other PICO presentations during the discussion. And such PICO presentations will be available for discussion throughout the whole day on the PICO screens. But there will be a dedicated time slot for the presentations. So here we see the first part is, of course, you upload it, you make quality control of your presentation. The second part is the start of the session, where you have normal lecture type presentation, but you only get 2 minutes to present the key aspects of your presentation. And then you go out to the PICO screens, where the attendees can freely walk around and discuss with those who are presenting, and you can zoom in, out, do whatever you want for the discussion. We think it's a very, very good type of presentation, and we are promoting it very much. It also helps us with one of the problems of growing, which is that the conference centers we can access are not having an infinite size, and this can actually help on the need for the number of square meters also. But I think first of all, it's a very innovative, in my opinion, way of using the new technical possibilities that we have. It was the type of presentation was developed in collaboration between EDU and our main supplier, commercial supplier, Copernicus, from Germany. So let me just finish by showing a couple of more of pictures from our recent book, A Voyage Through Scales. Or maybe I should just stop with this. Galilei is giving the name to our new conference series, and we took a citation from him to introduce the theme of our book. When will I cease to amaze and begin to comprehend? What am I? What is the world in which I live? And I think that the geosciences unions have a great role to play in answering or trying to answer some of these problems. Thank you very much for your attention.